got a couple more. For those of you that don't know David, he's been with us for 6 years at Vickery Financial. He's a wealth advisor here, and we are now Elevate Wealth Advisory, actually. So David is giving this topic today, helping kids and grandkids get off to a great financial start, which is very timely because he has his own he's not new little one, 11-month-old Jack. And David's a local boy. He's from Athens area, and he graduated from University of Georgia's Terry College of Business. And we'll just go ahead and let you start, David.
Thanks, Betsy. Hold on, let me share my screen. Okay. Like Betsy said, today I'm going to be talking about how to help children and grandchildren get off to a great financial start. And first off, we've got some housekeeping that Betsy already touched on. But in case you haven't heard, Vickery Financial has rebranded as Elevate Wealth Advisory. I think it went live just last week. So you may have gotten a phone call or got some emails about this, or you may have seen it on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter, any of our social media pages. If you don't follow those, you should definitely go check those out because we are always posting some good information and firm updates. You know, when Chuck Vickery started this firm back in 1982, it was just him, and over the years, he's managed to grow and expand that, and where we are today is we've got six advisors and 4 support staff, and sometimes we have some interns, and so we think that Elevate Wealth Advisory just better encapsulates where we are right now as a firm and our team-based approach to giving our clients the best possible service. We want to elevate your wealth experience, and so if you haven't yet, feel free to check out our website, which is elevate-wealth.com. So definitely go check that out. There's a lot of information on there, but as far as you're concerned as a client, this doesn't change anything except our name and logo. It's the same. We're in the same place with the same people, and even your client logins and everything where you access your accounts, none of that has changed. It's just our name. Let me check one of my screens real quick. Okay. Okay. All right, well, let's get started. How to help children and grandchildren get off to a great financial start. This presentation is targeted more towards the younger kids and toddlers. And so if you don't have any young ones of your own, but your kids do, your grandkids are young, this might be some helpful information to pass off to them. And I believe that we will have this recording available on our YouTube page at a later date if you want to share that with your adult kids. So Warren Buffett said that someone's sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. Our goal is to help plant seeds of knowledge to help kids make better decisions with their money so it can impact many generations to come. So our challenges today, when you think about the future and your kids or grandkids, these are probably some of the issues that concern you the most. It's their financial future. You want to provide the best for children so they can enjoy everything life has to offer, and educating the next generation to manage family wealth effectively, because money and wealth is not everything, but it definitely makes a lot of things easier and helps you enjoy your life a little bit more and spend time doing the things you enjoy rather than the things like work. So this is my challenge. This is Jack. He's my firstborn. He's almost a year old. He's 11 and a half months old. So, I took the liberty of replacing some of the stock images in my presentation with pictures of him. So you may see him littered throughout this. So you are not alone. Of affluent baby boomers, 50% want to leave money to their kids. 33% said they would rather leave it to a charity. 32% are confident their children would be ready for a financial legacy. 47% worry their children do not understand what it takes financially to prepare for retirement. And 35% are concerned their children have not learned fiscal responsibility. On top of that, 59% of parents provide financial support to adult children. So, these are just the results of I believe a 2012 Ameriprise study, and also one from the U.S. Trust called the Insight on Wealth and Worth Annual Study. And it looked at over 600 baby boomers with investable wealth of over $3 million. So this is just to give you some insight that maybe you're not alone with the way you feel about your legacy and your children's financial literacy. But all of these statistics point to the need to educate future generations better about money and making smarter fiscal choices. So Confucius said, "Tell me and I will forget, show me and I will remember, involve me and I will understand." So I liken this to the give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, or teach him how to fish and you feed him for the rest of his life. Biblical parable. So some key considerations: importance of starting early in childhood around age 3 or 4, and using hands-on daily practice of basic skills, and use simple messages when questions or other learning situations arise. This is what I believe children need to effectively prepare for the future. So we'll touch on some lessons and some strategies and ideas to help you with that. So it starts with simple steps. One thing that I say to my clients all the time, and in fact, I think a version of this quote is under my bio on our website, and that is that I believe ultimately how successful you are in achieving your goals is the sum of all your little everyday decisions along the way, some financial and some not, and some large decisions and some small. It's the everyday decisions that determine how successful an outcome will have. So show your kids what small daily actions can provide massive value for their family's future financial well-being and for their personal peace. So we need to help children prioritize and also make good choices, as well as learn from mistakes. This is an important one. You are the most influential financial teacher your child will ever have. Most children rely on their parents for financial education, but many parents don't feel confident about teaching their children and often avoid the topic. Parents are important financial role models because children begin learning about money through modeling and observation from the time they are toddlers, whether the adults in their lives are proactively teaching financial lessons or not. What children observe on a daily basis affects their values, belief system, and habits. Starting early is critical to develop good self-control, a key factor in future financial success. Children are very interested in learning. They know money is an adult thing and are thrilled to be involved. This is one that I think is very important, because I think it's one failure of our current education system, and that is that most schools don't have a comprehensive financial literacy program. I took in high school, I took some accounting classes and civics and economics, but I couldn't tell you anything I learned from there. It wasn't until I got into my college courses where I took some basic personal finance and some financial planning classes that really helped gel some of that for me. So I think it's really important to teach your kids yourself, because that schools necessarily don't do that for you. Managing money effectively is a skill and thus needs to be practiced to be mastered. Small lessons during everyday life can have a significant long-term effect, and the act of saving and spending helps a child learn about their inner values and interests. And goal setting is a key factor for life success. Um, a TD Bank survey surveyed 1,637 adults in the eastern United States, and it said that there's no doubt that the recession has made a big impact on families and financial literacy. The survey found that 55% of families are discussing money with their children more often. Unfortunately, only 33% stated they were setting a savings goal themselves. Only 34% of the adults surveyed rated their financial knowledge as good or better. Dads were nearly 10% more financially confident than moms, and 66% of dads commented that they regretted not discussing money with their children more. 52% of moms feel that it is their responsibility to teach their kids about financial management. So I think the takeaway from this is that there's a lot of people that look back with hindsight, because it's 2020, and think that they wish they discussed finances more with their kids and taught them more about money. So that's definitely something that we can learn is from their mistakes. The power of three. Here are the three concepts to teach your children, no matter how old they are. Differences between needs and wants, how to prioritize and make good choices, and understanding the consequences of these choices. So again, these are simple messages that you can practice daily in your life, and they're going to learn them from you. So how to teach: divide all income into categories. Give, invest, save, spend method, the GIST method of money management. This teaches the different ways money can be used, and is one of the most powerful wealth building habits a child can develop. Use cash, especially with young children. They need tangible visual experiences with money to truly understand the exchange. This will help your child's numeracy skills and prepare them more effectively to use debit and credit cards. That's something that a lot of my clients and I lament when we meet, is that a lot of times it's hard to remember, even now as adults, that the numbers you see on your screen are tied to money. So I think definitely having that basis for children of cash and understanding, the coins and the bills and everything, and that is what we're spending, helps make the idea more concrete for them. Tell stories. This helps create visual images and emotion, which enhances memory and learning. Look for everyday teaching opportunities at the store, the gas station, as you make dinner. You don't have to add half an hour a day for structured lessons. I think a simple one is when you're in the grocery store, they have the unit prices. So when you're comparing, whether you want the 16-ounce olive oil or the 32-ounce olive oil, or the buy one get one free olive oil, I think that's a easy lesson, because you're able to tie that to several ideas at once, several principles, and that's that buying in bulk, you get more for your money, and individual unit price. So the most grocery store price tags, they have the unit price on there, so you can see how much that oil is per ounce, and how much you're saving. And then it's also a lesson, if you don't use olive oil that much, maybe you don't need the big one. So for some items you don't use as much, you can tell them that we don't have as much of a demand for this, and so we don't need to spend as much on it, because it might not get used. So also take the time to explain things like needs and wants, and how wants or desires differ for everyone based on their interest and what they value in life. Help your children learn valuable lessons from mistakes, the lessons that exist within the experience. It is critical for a child to feel secure and not fear failure. This is how they gain knowledge, which will aid them in future decisions. Encourage creative entrepreneurial thinking. Give your children opportunities to problem solve. If they want to buy an item they don't have enough money for, ask them ways they may be able to earn the money. If they are determined to get the item, they will take action to earn and save for it. Excuse me. Jack loves that mahi mahi, which is actually one of our dog's toys, but don't tell him that. So again, give, invest, save, spend. Why do it? Dividing money into give, invest, save, spend in categories provides repetition and relevancy, memory skills, critical thinking and decision making, profound and meaningful conversations, practice and goal setting, pride and responsibility. These experiences all work together to make a memorable learning experience and create the foundation for good financial habits. Allowances. This practice time teaches children consequences of choices and personal responsibility. Also allows them to learn the value of things. Decision-making and responsibility. Do you tie it to chores or not? A simple solutions, the mini allowance, and a lot of people ask how much and when, and should they get increases. So the rule of thumb for allowances is 50 cents to $1 for every year of the child's age. Plus a 10-year-old might receive between $5 and $10. Remember that this is not simply spending money. It is supposed to be divided in four, and that's the give, invest, save, spend, gifts. It's to each his own. I think each parent can kind of come up with these on their own. I know as a child, mine was more tied to the tasks. So I did a lot of yard work and dusting and things of that nature. And each of those tasks had a allowance figure tied to it. So I think that's something that each of us can figure out on our own, but this is just a good rule of thumb, is 50 cents to $1 for every year of the child's age. Some mistakes to avoid: talking negatively about money or not at all. Thinking you must be a math or investment expert, teaching children only to spend, overindulging children with stuff, getting upset at a child's decision and not identifying the lesson within the mistake, giving stock yes or no answers because they're convenient and save time, and going to the mall as a regular pastime. I think malls would wish you'd come back to them. One thing to keep in mind, instead of saying we can't afford that, you could say, let's think of some ways you could earn some money to buy that. This way, it doesn't shut down the conversation and make the child feel hopeless. They realize they are in control of the situation and can decide if they want to work towards earning the money themselves. Your child is always watching and learning. Consider the values you are communicating before you open your wallet. You don't need to be a financial expert to successfully teach your children how to manage money, but you do need to commit to discussing basic money topics frequently during daily life. So the key to effective money lessons are consistency, personal relevancy, age-appropriate responsibility, and hands-on practice. So what are the next steps? Commit to being your child's #1 financial teacher. Teach your children financial skills every day. Again, tell stories, share experiences, use cash to help them practice numeracy skills, help them set up a GIS banking system. So the benefits to parents: as you begin to actively teach your children about money, you can benefit as well. Parents often feel relief knowing they're teaching their children critical skills required for future success and well-being. They feel decreased stress because the requests for money and items virtually disappear. Moms and dads are often surprised at how resourceful and responsible their children are when given the opportunity to handle their own money. And these parents feel great pride in their children's ability to learn these concepts. There's also a lot less guilt when parents realize that it doesn't benefit their child to buy them everything they want, and that saying no may be tougher initially, but it is ultimately better for their child in the long run. Other potential benefits include increased bonding with your child by discussing topics that are relevant to their everyday life and future plans. And finally, you may find that your own financial habits improve as a result of helping your children get on track. Awareness and action are keys to success. So there are, I know it says to use cash and everything, but for a lot of people that live in the 21st century, they may want to use some technology to help them. So I've got a handful of apps and other ideas. So this one is available on the Apple App Store. I think it's a $5 game, but I don't think there's any purchases after that. But it's called Saving Spree, and it's a game to practice decision making. It earned a Parent's Choice Award in the category for mobile apps. It's an engaging, fun, and educational app with beautiful artwork that's easy to use and age appropriate. I believe it's for ages 7 and above. During practice sessions, kids learn about earning, spending, and saving money. They also gain knowledge about short or long-term savings, as well as the risks associated with impulse purchases. Saving Spree also explains concepts such as charitable giving and investing. Kids can play to earn imaginary money by making smart financial decisions, but also lose some of the imaginary savings when making a wrong choice. The app also teaches kids about unexpected costs by adding in surprising life events to simulate financial shocks. And that's why we tell you to have an emergency fund that's about 3 to 6 months worth of your living expenses. But you can see here, looks like a speed round decision dash, buy on sale later and save $10 or buy at full price now. Again, I think this is just an interactive game to kind of help them out. So another one, a virtual piggy bank app. This is also on the Apple App Store called PiggyBot. So technology and apps for allowance tracking and saving. Back in the old days, you drew a chore chart on construction paper and collected your allowance in the form of loose change and crumpled bills. I had a physical piggy bank. It was this blue like storefront that had a church on it for my tithing. It had a bank for saving, and then it had like a toy store for spending. And you know, I put my cash into each of those categories and let that build up. But now you can use apps to do it. You can assign chores to your kids and pay them with real or virtual money right from your phone. These apps are built around the idea of banking and allowance tracking, and they help kids set goals, learn how to budget and save, and can also save you a trip to the ATM, because these days I don't actually have that much cash on me all of the time. But it works like an IOU. So it's a virtual piggy bank. Instead of cash, your kids have a virtual balance with you. So think of it as an IOU. Each child will have separate spend it, share it, and save it accounts. You decide how to allocate their allowance, add chores if you like in the bonus chores section. And kids can set goals and save towards them. When you make purchases for your kid, tell PiggyBot. So users can also set goals of what they would like to buy in future. So an image option provides extra motivation. On top of that, the app will automatically calculate how much money still needs to be saved and how long it will take to reach a specific goal. So, you know, if a kid wants action figure or a video game, I'm not sure what kids want these days, but you can put the image there to make it a little bit more concrete for them. Similar app, it's on that Apple App Store and also the Android Google Play Store. Is called Bankaroo, and it's another virtual bank account for kids. You create a virtual bank account for your kids, and you can easily track their expenses on Bankaroo. The app serves as a virtual bank for kids without being tied to an actual bank account. Just like PiggyBot, it teaches about money and its value in a subtle way. And it has some of the same features. So you can set up goals. So a bicycle or a drum set or special trip with your family. Those are all things that you can put into these apps. And I haven't actually used these apps myself, as I only have the one 11-month-old, but they get great reviews, and I think are both free. I think Bankaroo also has additional paid versions. But some other ideas. My wife and I were discussing some of the memorable experiences for us, and go with them to the bank to open their first checking and or savings account and get that debit card. You know, that was some experience that lasted for me, and I still remember to this day. Another one is implement a matching contribution incentive to save. So we could get really in the weeds with this, but think about it like your 401k or your employer sponsored retirement plan. So, a lot of them will say like, we will match 100% of your contributions up to 3% of your salary, and then we'll match 50% of your contributions up to the next up to 5% of your salary. So you end up with like a 4% match. So obviously it doesn't need to be that complicated, and kids don't necessarily have a salary. But I think if this is a really attractive idea to me, at least, because it can kind of teach them patience, because I'm going to use the term vesting. So with your 401k, a lot of times you're not immediately vested. Your contributions are yours, but you have to stay with the company for a certain amount of time to be 100% vested in the matching contributions that the company put in for you. So if you're doing so, say like, for example, I'll say that I'll match 50% of what Jack contributes to his account. So that could be birthday money or his allowance. And to get that portion, he would need to leave it in there for, I guess it's a sliding amount of time based on, since it's relative for kids, but 1 month, 6 months, a year. And you could actually open a like a second account on any of those apps we discussed, so they could have their Jack savings and then the parents match in a separate account. And so it teaches them a little bit of patience, and also the importance of saving, and just give him that extra incentive. And you could also open an investment account for them. There's I know a lot of our clients, well, I get a lot of questions about that, and there's several different types. And if you have any questions about those, just send them to us, and we can give you more specific answers based on your specific situation. But with for younger kids, I think the stock market is something that would be hard to understand right now. But I think Albert Einstein said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it, and he who doesn't pays it. So when they get a little older, teach them about the power of compound interest, and how it's more important to save early rather than save a higher amount, save more at a later date, because of compound interest. So I think when you open an investment account for them, probably when they're a little bit older, and discuss that with them, that's a really powerful piece of information to share with them. So your kids have the capability to learn these skills, and you have the capability to teach them, so have fun with it. You can see Jack's having fun in his Captain America shirt and his ball. Are there any questions?
I don't see questions in our Q&A box, but I have one. I've got 2 teenage boys, and it was a really difficult decision to figure out, when one was going off to college, do we get him a credit card? What do we do to allow him to have some spending money when he needs it? But it's just a little scary to give a teenager a credit card. So what are your thoughts on that?
So again, I think this kind of goes back to the beginning when we were talking about the everyday lessons and the values that you instill in them. They're going to pick up on that at a young age, and so I think teaching them, like the Albert Einstein quote just now about compound interest being the eighth wonder of the world. If you understand it, you earn it, and if you don't, you pay it. So I think teaching them that credit, there's good credit, bad credit, and you can use that to help you advance in life, like good credit is taking out a mortgage and buying a house and getting equity in the house and having an investment that you own. But also that it's a double-edged sword, and you can get a lot of people get in trouble with credit card debt. And so this really comes to living within your means and budgeting. So if we can build this good base when they're young, then I'm not there yet, but I think you just kind of have to trust that when they're ready, they can have a credit card and make responsible decisions and try to pay that off every week. Because the fact of the matter is that a big factor in your credit score when you're an adult is the length of your credit history. And so getting them and they have lots of credit cards for teenagers and young adults that start them off and have really simple features and are free and everything. But starting them off with something like that with a low credit amount, and just making sure they know that if you don't pay it off, that balance is you're gonna have negative money. The balance is gonna go the wrong way. You're gonna start owing more because of that compound interest. So it's just important to live within your means and live within your budget, and you use credit to your advantage, not disadvantage.
One thing we did do is we signed them up for the Greenlight Card. And what it is it gives each of the boys a debit card, if you will. It's tied to our bank account. And then they get this app. I don't know if you can see it, but I can transfer money into it. And then they can go and put it in give, invest, save, and spend right there on that app, which is pretty cool. So if they earn $20 allowance in a month, they can put 10% in their tithe right there on the app, but then they have it tied to that card. So if they do want to go and spend it, they have a certain amount in their little spending pool that they can just use it like a debit card or a gift card. And then grandparents also can gift right to their account. And so that's been really helpful for us with the two kids. So that's greenlight.com. It's
Oh yeah, that one sounds fantastic.
Yeah, I really like that a lot. If anyone has any questions, we have a chat box, and then there's also a Q&A box if you guys have anything you wanted to ask. And we're going to go ahead and put this on our YouTube channel. There's a link to that on our elevate-wealth.com website. At the very bottom, you'll see a link to our YouTube channel. We're going to go ahead and put this up there probably by the end of the day, and you'll be able to access it and share it with friends and family.
And again, if you think of any questions after this, just feel free to email us. We'll try to get you pointed in the right direction.
Thank you, David. That was helpful. I wish I'd have heard this 19 years ago.
I'm sure you did great. All right, everybody, thank you for joining us today. And again, we do these webinars monthly on a different topic. So feel free to go to our website, which is elevate-wealth.com. And if you click on resources, there should be a link to webinars there, and you can see all of our upcoming webinars.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Have a good day.
Yeah.